And we are live. Welcome to the MLB Strategy Show. It is Wednesday, September 20th. I am Josh Engleman here to break down a slate and a half at the very least. We're going to hit the main slate. Well, that's not even correct. We're going to hit tonight's slate first. We're going to hit the 4-gamer that locks at 7 o'clock first. I wish they would have just included the 6 o'clock games and dropped the 10 o'clock game. Then you could have had a 5-gamer. Just like FanDuel did. Oddly enough, FanDuel out in front of this one, but that is not what happened, so that is not what we're doing. So we're going to hit that first, and then we're going to loop back, and we're going to just talk the main early slate, which, unfortunately, locks at 12:20, includes a 4 o'clock Padres-Rockies game. They could have gone about this a different way, but we're going to talk about as much as we can before we turn it over to the NFL Strategy Show Ownership Edition. So first and foremost, I'm running my model on the 4 games for tonight. We're going to rip through all 4 of those games, talk about where I'm at, talk about what I like, what I don't like, and then we'll circle it back. We'll talk a little Owner's Box in the middle of this one. They are the sponsor of this show. We'll try to suck down some Gatorade. We'll try to suck down some iced coffee. We're on a hell of a prep until we get to basketball season. Yeah, I said it. I don't want to bring this up. I really don't. But considering I got 2 separate messages about it, I feel like I have to. If you guys watched yesterday's show, you should have known exactly what was going to happen. Bryce Harper homers yesterday, the man that dominates the Atlanta Braves. No doubt it was going to happen the moment it came up on the show yesterday, and it sure did. So yeah, it was nice to see some messages about it. I thought I had a shot last night. I got to 9th. So I finished top 10 in the relay throw last night. I had 3 top 1% lineups, I believe. You can't really ask for a better day. Like if you're going to give yourself 3 shots, that's the best you could help for. So I'm happy with where I ended up last night. I had enough of the Cubs, but not. I needed Yan Gomes to be a little bit better. He really didn't help, but I got to 3, and that's all that I could hope for. So my sim is done. I should be able to just grab this updated data, refresh it, and then we can break down tonight's slate. Oh, Jake, that's close, man. That's very close. Bug Boy finally learning some lessons. You should be used to being wrong the day after something happens. It's got to be every day for you. All right, so we've got updated data. You guys just see me copying that from one place to the other. My apologies. I need to remember that you see my Excel screen. Sometimes I just forget that you guys see what I'm doing, but only half of it. So now that we have everything updated, I could refresh my pitching exposures. And now I could refresh my crunch. We'll find out that I have just some ridiculous nonsense, which is what I'm expecting. Just true crazy exposures to start the day. All right, so yeah, just an infinite amount of the Pirates. I'm going to cut that down to start, and then we can really dig into this. But looks like I'm going to have a lot of the Pirates and the Brewers. Yeah, Justin Sports. I'm hoping that I can get one in before it all ends. Sam, we'll definitely talk about all the main stuff at the end, including where I'm at on all of the stacks for the slate that locks at 12:30. But for now, let's get into it here. Game number 1 for tonight, 7:05 start, Yankees and Blue Jays. 3.7 run implied total for the Yanks, 3.8 for the Jays. That's going to be Michael King, I believe, going for the Yankees tonight. Let's double check that. Where is it? Michael King, yes. And then Kevin Gausman going for the Jays. Gausman is 11,200. That's the most expensive pitcher by a mile today. $1,300 more expensive than Justin Steele. Really nice strikeout matchup for Kevin Gausman as well. 24% projected K rate to the lineup that I have in. Now, the park does play up power, but we are talking about, one of the 5 or so best pitchers in baseball. But we need to be aware. Lefty power can get him 200 X ISO to lefties this season for Kevin Gausman. That's not great. The problem here, so it's Austin Wells. It doesn't affect Judge, Torres, Stanton, and that's where it becomes a bit of an issue. So it's Austin Wells, it's Estevan Florial, and then potentially Oswaldo Cabrera. So I certainly like Kevin Gausman. To me, he's one of the 2 best pitchers you can get to today. He's projected for 43% ownership. I think he should be around 45% owned. So I think the ownership is right, but I'm getting a stand here. 30% K rate for Kevin Gausman on a 4-game slate. If he just has a standard day, you're going to be very happy you had him. So I have 80% of Kevin Gausman right now, and I expect to be heavy on Kevin Gausman. I don't, though, have Michael King on the opposite side. 5,900 projected for 42% ownership. In my eyes, he's massively overowned. Now, do I think that he's the best guy at the bottom? Yeah, but I also don't think that it's that overwhelming. Like, I don't think he should be 2-1 on Zach Thompson. Not on this slate at all. But he is. 42% ownership to 20. If I had to, I would rather just get a little bit more of Zach Thompson in lieu of Michael King. That doesn't appear to be the case for me. I'm not going any lower than Bobby Miller because it doesn't seem like I have to. Michael King, by the way, has thrown 600 pitches to lefties, 800 pitches to righties. He's got close to a 30% K rate so far this season. 130 X ISO to both hands. Could be good at 5,900. I'm a little surprised Steamer is as down on him. So I want to take a look at what Michael King's stats have looked like this season. So King has thrown only 23 innings as a starter, 64 as a reliever. Last year, he threw 51 innings as a reliever. I think we need to really think about the difference between him starting and him throwing out of the bullpen. Because I think if you look at his overall stats, 27% K rate to lefties, 32 to righties this season, that stands out quite a bit. But I think we need to dig into it a little bit further. So what I want to do is group this year, only look at 2023, but I only want to look at him as a starter. So as a reliever, if we just look at it quickly, 28% K rate for Michael King. In the games that he has started, 34% K rate. So it really hasn't been that bad. You wouldn't expect him to maintain that strikeout rate, but he has. Now, the starts are a little ambiguous. He hasn't, like, he had a 20 batter 8 strikeout start, a 20 batter 9 strikeout start. Both of those are his most recent starts. So maybe that strikeout stuff is real. Possibly. I don't really know what to believe. Should he be 42% owned? No. On a 4-gamer, I think that is massively too high given what's around him. I think he should probably be in that like 25 range, which is causing me to basically not get to Michael King. But on a point per dollar basis, he does look like the best pay down option you can get. Now, if we're just talking hitting, we have 11% aggregate ownership to the Blue Jays today. I don't think that's all that surprising. I have 18 stacks and 14%. I'm certainly more interested in going to the Jays bats against a 42% owned Michael King than I would be going to the Yankees bats going to a 42% owned Kevin Gausman. So the way that I look at this game is pretty easy. It's Gausman 1, it's King 2, Jays 3, Yankees 4, but I personally am more interested in the Blue Jays against King's ownership. Great coffee. Great coffee. Guys that I'm getting to the most in this game, Cavan Biggio, because of that $2,700 MPE. Bo Bichette, I have in 21% of lineups. That's basically 2xing those guys. I have, 2x of Springer, close to 2x of Vlad. I get a little bit less of the bottom of this Jays lineup. And then for the Yankees, only 5 stacks, 3% ownership, well under the field. If they're going to be 8% owned in the aggregate, I kind of like just not like doubling down on Kevin Gausman. Cubs and Pirates. Cubs were the team you wanted to have last night, put up the big-time run total. That is what got me all the way to 9th last night. Justin Steele on the hill for Chicago. 4.8 run implied total. Taking on the Pirates and Mitch Keller. Keller, obviously not bad. 8,800 for Keller, 9,900 for Steele. Steele, 32% owned. It's a big price tag. Well, honestly, it's not that big of a price tag for this matchup, but 9,900 is the second most expensive guy that exists. He's 32% owned. I think that he should probably be in that 25 to 30 range. So no qualms at all with Justin Steele's ownership. And we know for sure what Justin Steele is, and that is a very talented pitcher. 29% K rate to lefties this year, although a 176 x ISO. I was pushing Pitt a lot more. I had a lot more Pitt, which did not work. Sub 100 x ISO to righties yesterday, or this year for Steele, 23% K rate. Right now, it's looking like he's going to see 9 righties. Now, that limits the power, but it also limits his strikeouts a bit. So, does Steele look good? Yeah, of course. I mean, 30% to be a top 2 pitcher. It doesn't take much for him to just simply beat Kevin Gausman and look a little bit better. But I am once again going to get to the Pirates side of this one. That I don't love. Just because Steele just doesn't get hit hard by righties. And this is just going to be a sea of mediocre righties. So I am on paper scared of this one. Because I would rather have Steele than have the Pirates. But that's not how I play DFS. On the opposite side, Mitch Keller, 8,800, taking on the Cubbies. Keller this season, 27% K rate to lefties with a 150 ISO, 24 to righties with a 140. Not getting hit all that hard, and certainly has some strikeout stuff. Riddle me this: why is Mitch Keller 30% owned? Why is Justin Steele 30% owned, but Mitch Keller's 11? I don't think these guys are all that different relative to salary. Remember, you're saving $1,100 on Mitch Keller, and this is a guy that doesn't have all that different of a strikeout rate on the season. Because you're not getting the lefties for Steele, so you don't get the extremes of his strikeout rate either. I have triple the field of Mitch Keller, or at least close to it. He's 12% owned. I think he should be closer to like 25. I got him 26% to be a top 2 pitcher. So I have 30% of Mitch Keller. I have flip-flopped Keller and Justin Steele. And I think that looks very obvious to me in a large field contest. Now, as I look at it, where's this line at? I want to see what the strikeout props are for both guys. So for Steele, it's 5.5 shaded to the over. Keller's is 5.5 shaded to the under. Now, I disagree with that completely for a couple reasons. One, I think the matchup matters. With Steele getting significantly more strikeouts against lefties, if it's all righties, that brings it down. The righties that I have in for Pittsburgh today project to a 21% K rate. I have it 2% higher on the Cubs side, and Mitch Keller should probably see some more lefties. I think Mitch Keller is a better option relative to salary and ownership than Justin Steele. That's probably a take, but if Steele's 32% owned and Keller's 11, I think you should flip-flop those guys in large field. Okay. Now, if we want to talk bats, I already mentioned I'm getting to a lot of Pittsburgh. If I'm fading Steele and getting to Keller, it shouldn't be all that surprising that I'm also getting to the Pirates. Now, I have 50 stacks of them. I will not have 50 when we get to lock. There's no chance I'm going to 1/3 Pirates, although it'll probably be pretty close. There's only 8 options. They're 10% owned. I have them 6th in top stack, 4th in top value. I think they're probably around properly owned, but I'm getting the leverage on the opposite side of Steele, and that's the extra benefit for me. Like, Cabrian Hayes is 12% owned. I'm just going to have more of that. Connor Joe as a $3,100 leadoff first baseman, potentially, or leadoff outfielder. Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of this Pittsburgh team because they're just cost effective. But if the Steele ownership starts to come down, I'll probably end up with significantly less Pirates. On the opposite side for the Cubs, they are 14% owned. They are pulling some ownership here against Mitch Keller. I have them second in top stack, eighth. So that's last of the 8 teams that play on this slate, including the Dodgers. I have the Cubs eighth in value, fourth in stack score. So they're probably around properly owned. But if I'm going to be getting to more Keller, and I do think that the Cubs are a hair over-owned, although not everybody is over-owned, I don't mind the idea of getting some Cubs. I just don't have them. 4% ownership, 1 main stack. This will be my bigger fade for today. Why is that leverage for Cody Bellinger showing up at +7? Time to find something out in the old model ski. I think that should be this. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, had to make a change. It was just visual for me, but I was wondering why Cody Bellinger was looking like a great play and not the neutral play that I thought he was. Christopher Morel is going to be a guy you have your eye on for cash games. Third base, outfield, 5K MPE. That will be the guy that stands out the most from this matchup. But as I look at this one, it's pretty simple for me. I'm going to rank this game for me. Mitch Keller, Pirates bats, Cubs bats, Justin Steele. If we're just saying generically speaking, best to worst, it is Steele, Cubs bats, Pirates bats, Keller. So kind of like the opposite. Yeah, guys. So I list the home team first for 2 reasons on this sheet. Now, one, it's because I'm the one that looks at it more often than not. So I guess it's 3 reasons. But one, I want the park stuff at the top of the screen. So having the home team be the top team is easier for me from a data perspective because the park matters for the home team. But the second reason that the home team's first, that's what they do in soccer. So I am used to it and I prefer it now. All right, first 2 games are in the books. We'll keep that moving. We'll go to Cardinals Brewers. Zach Thompson on the hill for the Cards. Adrian Hauser for the Brewers. I got this one like 4.5 runs on both sides. 6,200 for Thompson. 19% owned. That's about where I have him. And then Adrian Hauser is 2% owned. 6,800. That becomes like, I don't think Zach Thompson and Adrian Hauser are 19% to 2% in ownership. It's probably like a 1.5 to 1 ratio. Also possible that this game doesn't exist, but we shall see. But I don't really want much here for pitching. I see Zach Thompson as sort of a Michael King pivot. I guess I see Hauser as that to a degree as well. But I don't really want either pitcher, although I do think Zach Thompson is the closest to properly owned. Yeah, it probably should be in that 15 to 20 range, whereas Hauser should probably be around 10. Hitting, though, very different in this one. I wasn't sure what I was going to get to if this game ends up happening, but I am getting to the Brewers against Zach Thompson. Now, that doesn't surprise me too much. If he's going to be in 20% of lineups, immediately that's a little bit more interesting. So as I look at the Brewers against Thompson, and Thompson this season, 114 ISO to lefties, only on 290 pitches, 171 to righties. That's on about 700 pitches. Is this Brewers team good? No, not really. Not so much. But, and they are the chalk, I might add. 19% owned in the aggregate. You've got Kana, Contreras, Adames, Monasario, Tyrone Taylor, all at 20% owned. But I'm also getting to 20%. I can't get away from these guys. Third in top stack, first in value. They may be 20% owned in the aggregate, but I'm also joining the field here. 38 stacks, 20% ownership. I think the Brewers are just really, really easy to get to, especially because of the leverage from Zach Thompson. Not to mention St. Louis ballpark. The only thing that it negates is lefty power. It's neutral for runs. It's neutral for righty power, but it has a 77 park factor for lefty hitters. That's not going to be much of a problem here. Zach Thompson on the hill for the Cardinals is a lefty. We're expecting to see 9 righties for the Brewers. So the park plays into Milwaukee for today. On the opposite side for St. Louis, they are 16% owned. Everybody's getting here too. 35% of tonight's exposure for hitting is coming from this game. Now, I am pretty well under the field on the Cardinals. I have them 4th in top stack, 3rd in top value. They are 16% owned. I have 10. I have 11 stacks. I'm still getting to double digits on some of these guys, but like Nootbaar, Goldschmidt, Arenado, Wilson Contreras, I think these guys are all a little bit over-owned. Tommy Edmond in particular. You might look at this game a lot for cash. Lots of cash options here. In large field GPPs, I prefer the Brewers side to the Cardinals side, just because you don't get any benefit from the Cards side either. Adrian Hauser's not pulling any ownership. So as I rank this game, I see it as Brewers, Cardinals, Thompson, Hauser. Let's take another sip of coffee. Zipping through this main slate pretty easily. We're going to finish this one up. I'm going to flip everything over, get everything locked and loaded for this main early slate. I'll run my sim. As I run the sim, we'll talk owner's box, and then we'll do as much as we can until we got to get out of here. Let's hit that schedule for the rest of the day, and it's pretty simple. NFL Strategy Show Ownership Edition is coming up next. 11 a.m., Laffy, Neil, talking about what the Week 3 main slate in the NFL is going to look like. So you don't want to miss that. Wow, we're up over 200 people. Hit that like button, too. And then tonight, MLB Live Before Lock for this 4-gamer. It's the only other live show we have today. Myself, Greg Ehrenberg, you're going to get us being able to do whatever we want on the stream, answer any questions you want, because we're going to be able to rip through a 4-gamer pretty quickly. This is going to be a more like high-level discussion and a little bit more free form tonight. So if you're interested in Live Before Lock, come join us. All right, here we go. Final game for the main slate. The night slate, I guess we're calling it. Dodgers and Tigers. 5.1 run implied total for the Dodgers. 3.4 for the Tigers. Bobby Miller going for LA. Reese Olson going for the Tigers. Let's start with Bobby Miller. Bobby Miller is in the Kevin Gausman camp for me today. He is at the tip of the spear. 8,700. I got him 49% top 2 pitcher, 43 value. 8,700 is just an incredible price tag for him today. He's 44% owned. I think he should be right around 45% owned. And yet I have 80%. So Kevin Gausman, Bobby Miller combo is my preferred combo by a mile. Michael King, I think, is just getting caught in a situation where I don't need to go all the way down in salary, and he's pulling a little bit too much ownership. For Miller, though, he doesn't get hit hard at all. 126 xISO to lefties, 140 to righties, 22% K rate. So it's not a strikeouts thing, but at 8,700, it doesn't have to be. It becomes a strikeouts thing because of the Tigers, who I have projected for a 25% K rate today. This is a really nice spot for Bobby Miller. I think he is the best overall option you can get to, because 8,700, that is a very nice price tag for what we're getting here. So I'm jamming him away as I'm jamming Kevin Gausman. Once I get those two guys plus 30% of Mitch Keller as my like difference-making piece, I really just don't have any other pitchers. So those are the three I need. As long as two of them pitch well, I'll be in good shape. Reese Olson on the opposite side, only $1,200 cheaper than Bobby Miller. 5% owned at 7,500. Should probably be in that 5 to 10 range. I don't really have much to add here for Olson. It's the Dodgers on the opposite side. It's never going to be fun to face the Dodgers. And he gives up a lot of power. Now, if we want to work our way through the hitting here, We're clearly at least a little bit more interested in the Dodgers side. They are 15% owned in the aggregate. I have 13. I have 12 stacks. This is the number one overall team to get to, but they're not going to be as cost effective. I like the top of the order. Obviously, Betts, Freeman, Smith, Muncy carry a lot of the water here for the Dodgers. That fifth guy you get to could be anybody. I think they look good, not great. The park plays up really well. The lefty power, power in general just looks pretty good against Olsen, especially in this park. 120 park factor to both hands. You just got to pay up for it a little bit at the top, and then the bottom just doesn't look as good. So I'm going to be close to neutral on the Dodgers. I see this as a slate where it's pretty easy to get a heavy stand on some of the lesser teams. But I also don't mind getting to the Tigers. Think about it like this. I have Bobby Miller in 80% of my lineups, and he's 45% owned. But in the other lineups, I'm still getting to 7% Tigers. I'm getting 15 stacks. They're 9% owned. I don't want to just ignore them because I think there's enough pop here. And I like being on the opposite side of Bobby Miller's ownership. So basically, if a lineup has Bobby Miller in it, great. If it doesn't have Bobby Miller in it, there's a decent chance it's either a Tigers stack or has some sort of Tigers presence in it. So I'm getting all of it. Ranking this game, though, is simple. It's Bobby Miller 1. It's Dodgers bats 2. Tigers bats 3. Reese Olsen 4. So as I sum it up, it's Gossman, Miller, and Keller as my 3 favorite arms, with Keller being the GPP arm that we're looking for. Pirates, Brewers, Blue Jays are my 3 most exposed teams. So we got through those first 4 games in the first half hour. We're not going to go game by game for the early. That's just going to be impossible to do. But we're going to swap it over nonetheless. So I'm going to grab whatever sort of updated lines we have and grab all of any updated lineups that we've gotten, and then we'll try to run this as much as we can in the background. So it should be fun. All righty. Because I think we have gotten a couple lineups at this point. Yeah, we have Phillies, Braves, Twins, Reds. So we got 4 lineups so far. I can talk about what we have at that point. So let me grab all of those updated lineups. And I'll make sure I grab whatever lines have been updated as well. That's always helpful. Because I grabbed all of this data at 7:30 in the morning or something. And sometimes you just don't get game lines for some of the games. Now, we did today, but sometimes you don't. So as I dump all of that in, we've got our updates. Chat, hit that like button if you haven't. Yeah, there it is. Sean V in here to let us know that everything he said was incorrect and then still came true. It's the classic Sean V take. Hey, here's all these things I'm going to say that are immediately proven false by all of the data that exists. Every single level we hit. And yet, nothing more obvious than him coming in, hitting the home run, and then Sean V trying to victory lap a take that was wrong the entire time. It's comical. It is comical. All right, so we've got our updates there. Let's go ahead and update top stacks and top pitchers. Let's get that in for sure. All right, top stacks is done. Top pitchers is done. Ooh, maybe it's not. Oh, I need a salary file. Whoopsie daisy. Knew I was missing something. Probably going to help if we have the proper salaries. Really nice slate. 50K relay throw for the early. Pretty awesome, honestly. I'm pumped. I was hoping they would have went crazy and went to 100 if they could have, but doesn't appear that was going to be the case. But I'll take what we can get. All right, so now that we've got the updated salary file, that should help. And then I could also grab updated ownership for the night slate, or for the early slate, rather. So let's grab that. Lucas Giolito season based on the ownership, evidently. Chunk, I'm going to win that in 30 seconds, man. Give me the other 2, too. All 3 of them back to back to back. Easy dub. Easy dub. All right, let's try this again. Top stacks is running. Yeah, now we got salaries, so that's good. Steve, oh my God, yeah. This is like the old days. I still do that for the NBA every Monday through Friday. All right, top pitchers is running now too. Let's see. What does top stacks look like on DraftKings? We've got, looks like the Guardians at the top of the list. That's not fun. But they are the number one owned team. Looks like I'm going to get to like the Nats. No, I'm not going to get to the Nats. They're over-owned. Probably going to get to the Reds. That won't be fun. All right, top pitchers is done as well. Top pitcher, probably Giolito. Ooh. Looks like I'm going to be way lighter on Giolito. Seth Lugo season for me. So let's save that bad boy. Let's grab the pay structure because we need to make sure that we have the correct size contest. I entered the battery, which was a mistake. So we've got a 50K relay throw for today. 11,764 entries. Now, this is a brutal contest to finish second in. Now, I understand people will want it, but 50K to first, 10 to second is a lot. That's a healthy drop off. So there we go. Lineups can now be generated. Now what's wrong? All right, which player is assigned to the wrong team? That would be Luis Garcia for the third or fourth straight day. If there was more time left in this season, I would stop getting this Luis Garcia issue. But I don't have any interest in like fixing my sheet so that it stops happening. Engleman has this as his main income. Glad Stochastic helps keep him employed. Yeah, that's what I need. Between the job and playing DFS, it's been a very good 2023. That much I can tell you. I mean, baseball's been fantastic. All right, lineups are being generated. Now we're feeling good. Because once these lineups get generated, we're going to talk about owner's box, and then we're going to sum up what's going on this slate. First, I need to change up my scoring. Take that one down. Up 28 means down, so that's going to go to 72. Down 4 to go up 4. Boom. Setting my threshold for boom, folks. So I just got to handle that quickly. That'll be good enough. Lineups are generated. So now we can run a crunch on the back end. We're going to talk about owner's box before we do that. And then we're going to be right as rain. So sim can run. Do we have an owner's box contest to talk about? Chunk, I would assume that I had a better year than Adam in baseball. That would be my assumption. I think he would agree. Let's see. Let's check out Owner's Box. Does Owner's Box have their Sunday contest up yet? Oh, Jake, we were always going to fly through them. I don't want to talk about an early slate with like half the lineups and stuff. We're just going to hit on the things that matter most. Okay, so they did drop this contest a bit, but we're going to talk about it now. So I'm going to pull this screen over into the middle. And we're going to talk about Owner's Box, presenting sponsor of this show. And then we're going to get into this main slate. But as my sim runs, let's talk Owner's Box. It is up on the screen right now, and this is going to be the contests that exist. Now, Owner's Box is the sponsor. You should click the link in the description of this video. The first thing that you're going to get from this, we're going to say it's coming from us. 1 week of our NFL Sims Max package. Now, that's not just for Owner's Box. That is every single bit of everything we have for the NFL. It'll cover you for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Owner's Box. And you're getting our Sims tool. This is something brand new to the industry. You can generate 10,000 lineups on one of these sites in basically a minute with the structure that you're looking for. Move people around if you want. Then you can simulate all of those lineups against themselves so that you can get ROI data per player, per stack, per lineup. This is going to create a much better package of lineups for you. My recommendation is to enter those contests on Owner's Box this coming Sunday or throughout the week for sure. I took advantage of it on Monday as well. This week, 35K to first. So we're down from 50. Still 14,000 entries. Now, just to point this out, they did not get to 14,000 last week. They got to about 10. Would not be surprised at all to see this overlay or at the very least have pretty sizable reduced rake. This is going to be, for the third straight week, the best contest in the industry for you to enter. By the way, no defenses, no kickers, super flex. It's even a more fun format, and we give you the tools for it. And I haven't even mentioned the best part. Up to a $500 100% instant match deposit bonus. As long as you deposit 10, you'll get everything that I said. If you deposit up to 500, they're going to match that with another 500. You get it in Owner's Bucks. It trickles out at 4.5%. Pretty standard issue stuff. I've already got 2/3 of mine, or a third of mine done at this point in time. Take advantage of contests like this. Take advantage of free money like this. And come check out our Sims tool and our Sims package. Get an idea of whether or not you want to take a shot at it moving forward. But at least for right now, you get it for a week. Bug Boy, you are out of your mind. Bug Boy, I don't think you understand how big I am in comparison to most average people. I think I have to assume in all cases that Sean V would be aggressively smaller than me because most people are. But 6'2", 215, I'm going to tune him up. You have no idea. No idea. Very easy. Alrighty. So my sim is done. I got through the Owner's Box question. We've got about 15 minutes to go, maybe 20, before we have to get out of here. So now we can take a look at what this early slate looks like and what we want to do about it. Mitchell, yes, I am. Yes, I am. What do you mean I'm not 215? Where are we going with this? All right. Data is copied over. All we have to do is refresh the lineups and we are good to go. I'm going to tune Sean V up like crazy. Strength advantage would be massive to me. You're a dork in YouTube chat. What are you talking about? No shot. Bug Boy, what are you agreeing for? You don't even know who this person is unless it's you. Unless you're the same person. Red Dog, I don't have to talk about losses. I don't have them this year. Why would I talk about... I can't talk about a loss that doesn't exist. That would be insane. Sean V, there is no chance you're in the gym all of the time. What are you talking about? You are in YouTube chat all of the time. Unless you have being in the gym is not having a treadmill desk, which is still not whatever you have at this point. By the way, Red Dog, if you want it, you could have it. Last I looked on Roto Tracker, 17% ROI, up 48K in baseball. Probably a little bit lower than that because I think that was from the end of last week, but still. All right, lineups are crunched. Lineups are updated. I am getting to the Reds as I expected, so let's break this down. Yeah, I see a lot of people in the gym all the time. That could be anything. Yeah, I don't want to look on your Twitter to find out your size. Nothing is creepier. All right, here we go. Let's get into what this early slate looks like. And like I said, we've got about 15 minutes. I'm not going game by game. I'm going to touch on all of the things that I think need to be touched on. We're going to talk about all of the things that are either owned or my stands for today. We're not going to do anything else other than either the team is getting ownership or I'm getting ownership. Okay, here we go. So, you know what? Actually, I think that I can zip through every one of these games in 15 minutes. What do you guys think? Can we do it? 260 people in here. Hit the like button. We are going to touch every single game as fast as we can. Let's go. Atlanta Braves, Philadelphia Phillies. 5.1 run implied total for Atlanta, 4.5 for the Phils. Bryce Elder and Aaron Nola. Nola not getting any ownership, 10K, most expensive pitcher on the slate. Honestly, he should be 5 to 10. He probably is 3 or 4, so close to properly owned. I don't have him. Bryce Elder's 6% owned. I have 6%. It's about where he should be. From a stack perspective, the Braves, to me, are the number one stack on this slate, but they're also the worst value that you can get to, or at least close to it. They are 4% owned in the aggregate. That is 10th. So basically middle of the pack. I have 4 stacks and 5%. Neutral to the Braves. Get him when you can. It always feels good. Aaron Nola, not going to be fun. Yeah, Sports Wiz. Acuna already homered. I'm sure he did. On the Phillies side, I have 2 stacks. They're 3% owned. I don't mind targeting against Elder. This is mostly a quiet game, although the Braves bats do look good. We know at this point. It's expensive. It's expensive. Ultimately, I do not have much of this first game. Game 2, Reds and Twins. This is my first stand. Hunter Green on the hill for Cincinnati. Bailey Ober going for Minnesota. Ober's 9% owned. That's about right at 8,100 here against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not a very good team. I don't really have Ober. 9K for Hunter Green. This is one of the first guys that I think you need to get to. He's 30% owned. Probably a hair too owned, but really nice strikeout matchup here against Minnesota. Limited run total for Minnesota, too, especially in this park. Kind of surprising. I got 30% of Hunter Green. He is one of 5 pitchers that I have at least 19% of. Hunter Green is a guy you got to keep your eye on for sure. And he's getting a bunch of ownership. Shouldn't get away from it. I, on the other hand, am getting to this game. We have the Twins 5th in ownership. We have them 5th in top stack. I have it 11th, but they are a great value. I have 16 Twin stacks. I have 9.5%. So I am over the field on Minnesota, but just by a little bit. It's the Cincinnati side that I'm getting to. This is one of my main be different in large field GPP teams. Highest owned guy in the Reds lineup is Christian Encarnacion Strand at 7%. I have 14.5% and 30 stacks. I am 3xing the field on Cincinnati. Gotta pause it. Josh has no strength, never lifts weights, or works out. He'll happily admit that. No, he won't. No, he won't. Because for 2 straight years, I've worked out with a trainer 2 to 3 times a week. Completely untrue. I will not happily admit that. I really enjoy working out. What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh my God. Anyway, like Cincinnati quite a bit. We have them 12th in top stack, 12th in top value. This is where the disparity comes in. I have it 6th and 9th. This is at home. This is in Cincinnati. Huge run factor, huge home run factors, and it's Bailey Ober on the opposite side. Now, does that mean I just want to immediately jam in Cincinnati? No, not totally. However, we need to at least talk about it a little bit. 140 x ISO to lefties, 240 to righties this season. The righty bats for Cincinnati are in an incredible spot. I like Cincinnati. This is my GPP team for today. Alrighty. Lots of this game, though. I have 25% of all of my hitting exposure in this game. 2xing the field on hitting exposure. All right, we got 10 more minutes. We're moving good. Nats and White Sox. 4.8 run implied total for the Nats. 4.4 for the White Sox. Josiah Gray going for Washington. Jesse Schultens for the White Sox. I basically don't have either pitcher. If you want either one of them, it's probably Josiah Gray, but I don't see him as any sort of priority. If we're talking stacks here, we got to talk about the Nats, who are second in ownership. They're 8th in top stack, 4th in top value. These guys are massively overowned, but it's just because they're cheap and they face Jesse Schultens. I have 5%. If they're going to be 10 to 12% owned, I'm coming in at half the field for Washington. I don't like it. I'm going to get to the opposite side, who I think are just as easy to get to. I don't see the White Sox as all that different than the Nats, and yet the Nats are getting 5% more ownership than the White Sox. So for me, I'm going to get to the White Sox. 24 stacks, 13% ownership. I'm 2xing the field here on Chicago. Just give me whatever ownership is coming into Washington and take me back to the White Sox. Yeah, White Sox. Tim Anderson, once again, a guy that I'm getting to in a big way. 27% ownership, $3,400 shortstop. Keeper Ruiz does look good for the Nats, though. This is another game where you really want to attack it with hitting. Game 4, Rangers and Red Sox, 2 o'clock start. John Gray going for Texas, 4.8 run implied total. Brian Bayo going for the Red Sox, 4.1. John Gray's 13% owned, should be around 10. Not much to look at there, but he is 7,400. Bayo only 6,800. If this were a matchup against someone other than Texas, I'd be a little bit more interested in Bayo. He's only 4% owned, should be in that 5-ish range. It's not a pitching slate. It's not a pitching game for me. Rafael Devers on his own looks great. I have 20%, getting used a lot. But we're talking about a team that is in and around 12th in top stack, in and around 10th in top stack for the Red Sox. I don't have much of this game other than Devers. Most exposed guy I have of anybody other than John Gray and Devers, 7% to Semien, 7% to Yoshida. This is a game I'm mostly staying away from. Although I do have some Red Sox stacks and I am over the field, it's not as glaring as it seems because I have 21% Devers and then 7% of anybody else. So I'm not getting to the Red Sox as much as it seems. It's mostly Devers one-offs. This is a game I'm just kind of staying away from. Like, I think Bayo's solid. I think John Gray's solid. That makes the Rangers and Red Sox look a little bit less interesting to me. It's just all sort of middle of the pack. Samuel, absolutely. All right, Astros and Orioles. Royals are in the next game. Christian Javier going for Houston. Kyle Bradish going for Baltimore. I don't have much of this one. We've got Christian Javier projected for 3% ownership. So Christian Javier is certainly under-owned in large field stuff. At that price tag, should probably be around 10%. 3% is not enough. Now, I don't have a ton, but I'm just saying if that's a guy that you have your eye on, I'd like him in larger field contests. Kyle Bradish is 1% owned, 9,400. It's against the Astros. It's a tough strikeout matchup. It's a tough matchup just in general. And he's the 4th most expensive pitcher. Could he have a big day? Sure. Should he be more than 1% owned? Yeah. Is he a priority? No chance. If anybody's getting to anything, it's Orioles bats. They are 4th in ownership overall, 8% owned. I'm basically matching the field. I have 9 Orioles stacks, but I'm using them as singles, 2-mans, 3-mans. I have 7% of Baltimore. I don't have any more than 12% of Ryan O'Hearn, but I got like 5 to 10 of basically everybody. I'm not getting to the Houston side. I'm not trying to target against Bradish. They are 16th in ownership of the 16 teams, so keep that piece in mind. I think there's 16 teams, right? There's 8 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are there 9 games? Oh, there's 9 games. All right, so they're 16th of 18. Either way. I don't want much Houston. I don't really have it. If I'm ranking this game, it's actually Orioles bats, Javier Bradish Astros bats, but I don't really feel great about that. All right, keeping it moving. We got about 5 minutes to go. Royals and Guardians. Guardians are the team getting the most ownership. It's probably Greinke on the opposite side. Lucas Giolito going for Cleveland. Giolito is 36% owned. He's 7,600 against this massive strikeout Royals team. He should be owned heavily, probably around 25%. I do think he's a tad too high, but I think that he just looks incredible. I don't think you can get away from Giolito today, not in this matchup. And I don't think you could really get away from the Guardians if it is Zach Greinke. They are second in top stack, first in value, number one in ownership at 13%, and I completely agree with it. I have 22 stacks. I also have 13% ownership. Kwan, Ramirez, both look exceptional at the top of the order. Take your pick on whichever first baseman you like. This is, I think, pretty good chalk. I don't love the park for it, but the matchup doesn't get much better. Kansas City on the opposite side, though, if Giolito is going to get 35% ownership, I'm happy to have 7 stacks and 5% of them. It's just not a main priority. Their prices are great other than Bobby Witt. 3,700 is the most expensive guy. So you can find a little bit of value. Ultimately, when you're ranking this game, it's very clearly Guardians bats, Giolito, Royals bats, Greinke. I don't have much else that I could possibly say for that one. A's and Mariners. 3.2 run implied total for Joey Estes for the A's. 5 run implied total for Seattle for George Kirby. Kirby is 9,700, second most expensive pitcher. 25% owned, well worth that as well. I have 35%. He should certainly be north of 20 no matter what. In Oakland against Oakland, George Kirby's in a fantastic spot. Please don't play Joey Estes. Do play some Seattle bats. We have them number 1. I have them number 3. They're 6th in ownership at 7%. That's right where we have them in stack score. I have 5 stacks. I have 6%. It's a team that I want to be neutral to, but a lot of it is just the fact that Cal Raleigh for 4,500 might be the best catcher option you can get. On the Oakland end, I don't want to target against Kirby. I don't really trust Oakland. They're cheap as hell, but I don't like this ballpark. Diamondbacks and Giants. 3.8 run implied total for Arizona, Merrill Kelly on the hill. 3.9 for the Giants, Logan Webb on the hill. Both pitchers are 13% owned. Logan Webb is $1,200 cheaper. I prefer Logan Webb to Merrill Kelly because of that price savings, but both guys seem like they should be 10 to 15% owned. Hitting is not something that I want a lot of, at least from Arizona. Don't want to target against Logan Webb. I don't have a single Arizona stack. I have less than 1% in the aggregate. I do have 8 Giant stacks against Merrill Kelly. I hope that goes away. They're 2% owned and I have 4. So we're not talking about massive ownership. 6% to Wilmer Flores is the high mark. So I'm getting Logan Webb over Merrill Kelly at the same ownership. I'm okay with that. Give me the salary savings. But ultimately, this is not a game that is all that exciting. Kelly and Webb are good. That makes the bats a lot harder to get to. We close it out, Padres and Rockies. 5.3 run implied total for the Pods. 3.3 for the Rockies. Seth Lugo for San Diego. Chase Anderson for the Rockies. Do not play Chase Anderson. Do play Seth Lugo. 34% owned. That is basically tied for the most ownership with Lucas Giolito. I think Seth Lugo is the best pitcher you could roster today. 8,600 against the garbage Rockies. Rockies are on the road. They're the worst road team in baseball. I have 57% Seth Lugo. Get as much as you can. He is your best pitching option for this slate. I wish I had a little bit more of San Diego bats. It's an incredible spot. 3rd in top stack, 11th in value, 3rd in ownership. I think they're just a little bit too owned, but the top of the order, Bogarts, Tatis, Soto, Machado, Campusano, that's absolutely a fantastic 5-man stack. I only have a third of the field. It doesn't make me feel good because I want to target against Chase Anderson. I'm just finding ownership to be more efficient somewhere else. Do not play the Rockies. I don't have a single share. Summing it up, favorite pitchers, Seth Lugo, George Kirby, Hunter Green, Lucas Giolito, Logan Webb. I am staying away from anybody basically below Giolito. Very, very minimal exposure there. For hitting, I have it ranked Reds, White Sox, Guardians, and Twins. 10:55, we did it. Got through the first 4 games, easy. 9-game rip through of this early main, whatever we want to call it. It was fun, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't done it already. 290 people. We pushed the NFL Strategy Show a little bit until after MLB lock. So tune into that one at 1 p.m. Sign up for Owner's Box. And remember, Sean V, no chance against me. I put you in the dirt, brother. Good luck, everybody. Enjoy both of your slates today. I'll see you guys in the morning.